Hey horror fans, thanks for joining me for this review of Overlord. Yeah, I'm going back to 2018. I missed this one, so I just got a chance to catch it on Amazon Prime. So, as usual, start off, cast and crew information down below, along with some other things and the plot, but I'm going to go ahead and read that real quickly. It's really short here on IMDb. A small group of American soldiers find horror behind enemy lines on the eve of D-Day. So, the first thing that obviously stands out about this one is the setting. Going back to the war and just before D-Day, and it kind of makes it a fun movie off the start just because it's a different situation here. We don't usually get a lot of horror movies set in the war, so it's fun to see something different. Not the usual, in the cabin, in the woods, in the house. Um, we have to eliminate the cell phones and this and that and technology and so forth. Here we get thrown right into the battle. It doesn't really waste too much time, as you have a group of paratroopers and a bunch of planes up in the air, and they're getting ready to descend on the Germans. And here they take you into one specific plane and one specific troop, and they're kind of going around the plane. You kind of getting a brief introduction to a few of the characters and what they're like and so forth, and it's a really brief introduction because as they're getting set to um, jump out of the plane, as they're preparing, I guess the Germans open fire on them from the ground, and uh, you know some planes start going down. Their plane gets hit, and they have to have a mass panic, if you want, and basically just abandon the plane. Not abandon ship, but abandon plane, and jump out as quickly as they can and hope for the best. and I'm sure that would be a pretty scary situation. It's very horrifying alone. So, as you'd expect, you have a few survivors. They land, and they eventually find each other in the forest, and they kind of tip you off that something's going to happen because one of them finds something really weird, but they're not sure what it is. But then they move on, and they make their way to a village that is, I guess, has the Germans have occupied the village. It's not really their village. The people there don't really want them there, but they're there and they're in charge. But um, this group of troops, American troops, that is, they stumble behind a local woman who's there, and at first they're not sure whether she's friend or foe. But yeah, she hates the Germans just as much, and she can speak English well enough, so they kind of befriend each other. And the few soldiers that are left end up in her home there, hiding from the Germans. And from kind of this point on, you get then introduced to, I guess, one of the head German leaders there, and he's basically taking advantage of the girl, the woman, and she has a young brother there with her and an aunt who they keep kind of well hidden, but you kind of get a quick peek and you're like wondering what the hell happened to her. I really wish they would have revisited it because you really never find out what's wrong with her, but she's there. And so of course this woman proceeds to hide the troops and help the troops. And this German leader comes in, and you can see that he's been taking advantage of, the whole village, but also of her. And the Americans kind of capture him for the time being and try to get information from him and so forth. They also send a couple of troops go out kind of to look around the area and see what's going on. And I guess their ultimate mission here is there's a tower and they want to blow that up. But things don't go as planned, per se, as one of the troops accidentally, goes looking for the others, and he stumbles upon the real horror here that's going on here. And this is the fun part for horror fans, because he stumbles upon a German lab where they're experimenting, and I guess they're trying to find the ultimate soldier, and they're doing all kinds of experiments on live people, dead people, who knows. And there's some really creepy stuff down there. I don't want to give it all away, but yeah, there's some really weird and freaky stuff. We've heard about human experiments all the time. We've seen them in other movies, Frankenstein and so forth. But here we go again. The Germans are just going at it. They have no morals here. They're just experimenting on everybody they can. And they're trying to develop this serum or shot or so forth that will, some part, if you want to call them zombies, bring soldiers back to life. If not, use it on live people. But yeah, there's a bunch of weird stuff down there. And I think, maybe one fault in the movie is that you kind of wish, after you kind of get introduced to this, you wish maybe you saw a little bit more. You do see a few things here and there later on, as the soldier makes his way through. He sees some stuff. He rescues one of his friends and leaves. But you obviously know that that's not the end of it. They're going, their ultimate mission here is to blow up this tower, which is above this laboratory. So they're going to end up back there again, and you're going to see some more weird stuff. And there is, I guess, there's one incident, and you kind of see a little bit there. I wouldn't say that's as freaky as some of the stuff you originally see. You definitely see that they have strength and they're hard to kill. Then you see some other soldiers later, and then maybe a main bad creature soldier, if you want to call it. He's pretty freaky looking. They do a pretty good job with it, I think. I'm not going to say it's going to scare you, but I thought they did a pretty good job with the creatures and whatever. I may have wanted to see maybe if they would have had a few more soldiers make it. I know that's hard to do and dragging them around or whatever, but then maybe have them kind of more go face to face with some more of these creatures. And kind of, I remember when I watched the trailer to this movie originally, I thought, you knew that they were hiding something. And you knew that maybe there was creatures or there's experimenting going on or something weird was hiding behind those doors. And I guess, maybe if we would have seen a little bit more of that and a little more interaction, a little more fighting them. But, you tend to get most of that in the final act of the movie, or at least later half of the movie. And I don't know, it kind of piques your curiosity, and you want to maybe see a little bit more of that going on. But, they kind of try to stick to as real as they can, with the soldiers having to go and eventually try to blow up this tower and this lab and whatever the hell else is going on here with these crazy Nazis. And what's also interesting is I'm not going to try not to give away the ending, but they kind of really left it open if they wanted to do a part two, if they really wanted to. Since this was a couple of years ago, I don't remember how well this movie did or was received. But I mean, even if they didn't leave it open, I mean, you could have done one anyway. It's just easy story to rewrite and do again. We've seen some other movies with Nazis and zombies and so forth, and so you could do a part two either way. I mean, call it Overlord Part Two, or just do another Nazi creature thing, zombie movie, whatever. But they seem to go out of their way at the end and kind of leave it off where maybe they thought of having a sequel if this movie did well enough. But again, I don't remember what the end deal with the movie is, and if it made money or a lot of people saw it. Or I didn't even look on IMDb before I read this if what the score was on it. But anyway, I enjoyed it enough. I liked the different setting. Didn't distract too much. They tried to keep it kind of real. As far as army wise and so forth, and what they would do in that situation. But I don't think it got too distracted. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of the creatures than they showed, or than that interaction or fighting them than what actually happened. Regardless, I thought they did a good job enough to seem to be giving a lot of things 3 pools of blood lately. I don't know. Maybe I'm just in that mood. Maybe it's that environment. I don't know. But I think I'm going to give it 3 pools of blood because even though I wanted a little bit more from the creatures, I think what they did was pretty interesting enough, and the final act was entertaining enough, and there's some good fighting there with the creature to be the main creature, what turns out to be the main creature, and creature, zombie, whatever the hell you want to call it, I don't know. But yeah, and there was another scene, I don't want to give it away, but there's another scene there when I guess you can say that they find out what this serum does. That was a pretty cool scene as well. So, scenes like that make me want to give it 3 pools of blood. So there you have it. I'm going to go with 3 pools of blood. And I'm glad I don't have to jump out of a plane and face any zombie creature things. So, anyway, as usual, more information down below about the movie. And, of course, you can find more reviews at horosgoryreviews.blogspot.com. And that information is down below as well, along with social media. And you'll find I have written reviews there as well, not just these video reviews. But you can also subscribe to the channel if you're just interested in the video reviews. And with that, that was Overlord. And moving on to the next review. Thanks for horror fans.